Success brings a lot of things to an artist: fame, money, women, and of course a diehard fan base. And maintaining a healthy relationship with fans is one of the most important parts of a successful career. However, at the same time, not being able to can be just as destructive. And over the past years, we've seen many artists treat their fans horribly, making it seem like they hate them, and seen their fan bases turn on them as well. I'm Rashad Fashir, and this is Rappers Who Hate Their Fans. The first artist who undeniably hates their fans, or has shown she has in the past multiple times, is Doja Cat. Over the past decade, she's had countless hits and has remained in the spotlight as well as the charts almost constantly, making her undoubtedly one of the most successful female acts in the industry. But for years now, she's had a confused fan base who, due to her erratic behavior, weren't sure if she liked them or hated them. In fact, it only ramped up in recent years, and it's starting to sway a lot towards the idea that she hates them. So let's get into it. But before we talk about her horrendous relationship with fans, how did she even get any to begin with, right? Well, Doja Cat was signed to a major label far before she was mainstream, catching the attention of RCA Records in 2014 and being signed in the same year. She dropped multiple songs getting a bit of buzz, but nothing really happened. However, in 2018, everything changed for her, and with the release of Moo, she skyrocketed in popularity and had her first taste of mainstream success and had her big break as an artist. Of course, with this newfound success, Doja found herself with a lot more fans than she had before. And although this was great for her career, it didn't take long for fans to begin to cause trouble. And some of them wouldn't even remain as fans for long. You see, when artists blow up, gaining new fans is just one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is this. After people become fans, they usually scramble to find everything they can about the artist to get to know them better. For Doja Cat, this didn't really turn out that well, as not too long after her new stardom with Moo, the public dug up some pretty wild tweets that she posted back in 2015. The post was a tweet Doja Cat had directed towards Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt, calling them both the F slur. Of course, this was posted when Doja Cat was practically a nobody, so she probably didn't think anything of it. But as a rising artist, it wasn't a good look. Fans were outraged, commenting things like, "WTF is this?" and overall just questioning if Doja Cat was a good person or not. And after a ton of hate, Doja gave a response, but it wasn't exactly what you'd think she'd say to respond to criticism. She tweeted, "I called a couple people when I was in high school in 2015. Does this mean I don't deserve support? I've said roughly 15,000 times in my life." 15,000 is crazy, by the way. Does saying mean you hate gay people? Do I hate gay people? I don't think I hate gay people. Gay is okay. It doesn't take a genius to know that this would not sit well with fans. I have no idea what she was thinking. And it made them even more upset. They were shocked that Doja would even continue to use the word and kind of mock the situation, thinking she wasn't paying respect to the people she hurt. So it was pretty clear she didn't give up. And her response foreshadowed how she would treat her fans in the future. Eventually, more and more hate started to flood her socials, so she did apologize and put out another statement with a bit more of an understanding attitude, saying, "I apologize for the derogatory terms I've used in the past. No one should be discriminated for their race, religion, or sexual orientation. I love you and I hope to make more great music with and for you in the future. Thank you." She then deleted the tweet later that day. So yeah, not a great look. But fortunately for her, fans were generally indifferent about her second response, and as she was still very new to the landscape, as she grew bigger, people just progressively forgot about it. So she was given a second chance. However, little did everyone know, this would only be the beginning of the complicated relationship Doja Cat has with the public and her fans. And if you think this was bad, wait till you see the rest, because she just got more and more out of pocket. Luckily for Doja, she stayed out of controversy for years after that. And the next time Doja Cat would get into a feud would be years later in 2020. It all began in May of 2020 when fans uncovered some pretty crazy stuff, digging up a live chat of her in a racist chat room where she was a participant, trolling online with them with what fans considered to be, or scratch that, some pretty racist and inappropriate stuff that I can't even speak about or show to you. But the general idea is that she'd be teasing for the chat room and saying racial remarks with them. When this was uncovered, it would seriously tarnish her reputation, as this was during another period where Doja Cat was blowing up, this time for her song Say So, which went viral on TikTok, so she was having another huge influx of fans. This time she was much more mainstream, and her racist past was a huge stain on her reputation. But before she could address any of this, fans uncovered another bombshell of an allegation. And to be honest, it's not much of an allegation. It's stone cold proof. In the same month they found the live stream, Doja's fans uncovered a 2015 SoundCloud release from Doja titled "Didn't Do Nothing" with more racist content. The saying "didn't do nothing" is a saying that online groups make to mock the victims of police brutality, directly translating to the victims who didn't do nothing. So you can imagine how outraged certain fans were at this point, especially for someone like Doja Cat, who actually appealed to a very liberal audience, this was not a good look. But it didn't stop there. That same month, yeah, I'm not kidding, her fans went 3 for 3. They found another racist act from Doja in the past. Fans had rediscovered a music video for one of her songs, So High, an early successful song in her career, where she was called out for sexualizing and appropriating Hindu culture. After one allegation, I'm not gonna lie, people just brush it off. After 2 allegations, people start raising their eyebrows. But after 3 solid pieces of evidence come out, and not so much as a peep out of Doja Cat, fans were like, I think she might be racist, or at least just a bad person. But eventually, Doja did finally address these allegations, all at once. First, she addressed the racist chat room allegations, saying, I've used public chat rooms to socialize since I was a child. I shouldn't have been on some of those chat room sites, but I personally have never been involved in any racist conversations. I'm sorry to everyone I offended. I'm a black woman. Half of my family is from South Africa, and I'm proud of where I come from. So basically, she denied any form of racist behavior and then said, hey, I'm half black myself. How could I be racist, right? And whether or not she is, I'll leave it up to you as a viewer. But she also addressed the disrespectful song that resurfaced, saying, as for the old song that's resurfaced, it was in no way tied to anything outside of my own personal experience. It was written in response to people who've used that term to hurt me. I made an attempt to flip its meaning, but recognized that it was a bad decision to use that term in my music. I understand my influence and impact, and I'm taking this all very seriously. I love you all, and I'm sorry for upsetting or hurting any of you. That's not my character, and I'm determined to show that to everyone moving forward. Thank you. This was pretty fair, to be honest, but by now she had multiple controversies and fans just weren't buying her response. So they weren't really gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and continued to give her hate. She didn't like this, of course, so she then took to Instagram Live to try and clear her name once more and attempt to control the damage that had been done to her career. First, she explained that she was a human being and nobody's perfect.
Me, if you're young, all of my young fans, people who look up to me, my behavior isn't something that always needs to be followed. I'm not perfect.
This was her saying, hey, don't look at me, I never claimed I was a role model, dodging the responsibility that comes with fame. And then she stood up for herself, saying,
also, I need to stand up for myself. Instead of making a video about, that's diplomatically and politically correct.
And to be honest, she had some pretty good points, as after all, nobody is perfect and you shouldn't look up to celebrities as a role model. But it didn't matter. If I've learned anything from posting these types of videos, fans on the internet thrive off of negativity. They love it. And rather than take some time to think inwards and give Doja Cat's apology a fair shake, they said nah and just went crazy. Her apology had the opposite effect of what she intended. Instead of fans being more understanding, they decided to launch a hate campaign. The hashtag Doja Cat is over party trend started to thrive online, and Doja Cat couldn't catch a break for a while. Remember, this was in 2020, and cancellation attempts held more weight, where you couldn't really get away with much without armies of counts coming after you. It was probably the toughest point in Doja Cat's career regarding controversies, with even celebrities calling her out. At the end of it, millions of eyes had laid their eyes on the controversial history of hers, and this was kind of like a canon event, or some type of event that just changed everything for Doja, because her demeanor after this completely changed, and it went from loving your fans to kind of liking your fans to, in my opinion, resenting your fans because of all the hate you got, which you'll see later. Before that, Doja Cat said that she just wanted to make her fans happy, but this would change everything. She realized that no matter what she did, she couldn't please her fans. So she ditched her apologetic attitude and kind of just began her villain era, as the girls like to say. So after her cancellation, Doja didn't care anymore. And since then, there have been countless incidents where she began beefing with fans, which includes making fun of a fan's weight early in her career. The fan made a simple joke and said her hair looks like a pineapple, so Doja Cat popped off. She called her Humpty Dumpty, and then she said and called her and continued to body shame and just roast her. To some fans, this was just funny, but it was a little extra considering that the fan had just compared Doja's hairstyle to a pineapple. There are even more instances of her beefing with her own fans. After a fan said they didn't like one of her interviews, here's what she had to say.
First of all, shut up. Shut up. Did I ask you? No, I didn't. Nobody asked. Is it something that you think that I'd want to hear? Probably not. You're doing that to be antagonistic. And congratulations, you're annoying.
And then she literally said she doesn't like most of her fans.
I don't with most of y'all. I really don't. But if you are interested in buying a speaker on JBL, that's originally illustrated by me. Decode the message at the bottom and visit the website.
So at the time, Doja was also being shamed for a new bald head look, shaved eyebrows, and crazy makeup non-stop by fans. So she snapped on them, specifically one during an Instagram live.
People who are coming in here and saying like, oh, your hair, what's wrong with your makeup, you look like a clown, blah 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 blah. Talk about their lack of eyebrow hair and their acne, comments about shit. You are absolutely disgusting. You're embarrassing. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be embarrassed at the way that you speak to and treat people.
She has even more, like way more incidents dissing and beefing with her fans that are much more disrespectful, but I'll leave it here. However, I can't lie, part of me respects how she stands up for herself, and she can be pretty funny, but fans definitely didn't think it was, and it just made her more and more unlikable, to the point where at this point of her career, it was almost a known fact that Doja Cat isn't a likable person, just a good musician. And you'd think after all of that, Doja would learn, but no. She got into not one, but multiple controversies following all of this. The first happened last year in 2022. That year, Doja was set to perform at a concert in Paraguay, but unfortunately the event was cancelled due to unsafe weather conditions. Understandably, fans were upset that they weren't able to see her perform, and like every other show that was cancelled, they expected her to give a statement or announcement to reschedule, or at least something regarding a refund. However, afterwards, Doja Cat went radio silent, not even telling them if they would be getting a refund. But right after, the hotel Doja Cat was staying at leaked, and a lot of fans showed up to Doja's hotel. Not her room, but just outside of the hotel, which countless fan bases do to celebrities. This isn't actually anything out of the ordinary. Countless fan bases do this to celebrities. For example, when the same thing happened to MGK in South America, he actually delivered a free show outside of his hotel for them to show that he was thankful. Obviously, they didn't expect that, but Doja Cat refused to acknowledge them and didn't even show her face to them. Once again, fans were enraged, and this would start yet another feud between Doja and her fans, this time on Twitter. Doja would reply to the upset fans' tweets saying that she abandoned them, saying, "I'm not sorry. I'm not taking pictures with anyone else after this tour. It's gone and I don't give a fuck anymore. I fucking quit. I can't wait to fucking disappear and I don't need you to believe in me anymore. Everything is dead to me. Music is dead and I'm a fucking fool for ever thinking I was made for this and this is a fucking nightmare. Unfollow me." This was extremely ungrateful and fans were mad. But to be honest, if they had just shown up unwarranted, Doja's response would have been fine. After all, the show was cancelled due to some pretty reasonable circumstances. Horrible weather, so she couldn't perform. And she didn't really owe them anything. However, before she went on her crazy rant, she tweeted this. "There was a storm in Paraguay, the show got cancelled. When I left the next morning, there wasn't one person outside waiting for me." Doja Cat quickly deleted this tweet, and to fans, they thought she meant that Doja meant that no one was waiting there for her, when there were. What she meant was the weather was so bad that she left alone, so it was a miscommunication. But instead of being understanding, Doja Cat spazzed on her fans, like I showed earlier, and to be honest, that's on her. This must have struck a chord with her because afterwards, she decided to mock her fans once more, this time unprompted and just for fun. She tried to make them feel finessed for streaming her albums, which is a really weird thing to do. At the time, her most successful albums were Planet Her and Hot Pink, with numerous hit songs on both, and Planet Her sold 100,000 units first week. But randomly in 2023, she tweeted saying, "Planet Her and Hot Pink were cash grabs and y'all fell for it. Now I can go disappear somewhere and touch grass with my loved ones on an island while y'all weep for mediocre pop." This is probably one of the worst things you can say to your fanbase, pretty much insulting them for their taste in music and making Doja Cat rich through ingenuine art that she supposedly released as a ploy. So fans were understandably mad, and once again it sparked outrage. She didn't care and continued to make fun of them. A few days later, a fan tweeted at her and said, "Everyone is mad you were calling your fans dumb." She replied, "Are they not? Nice one." That was bad, and what fans didn't realize is this was the beginning of a huge breakdown by Doja Cat, where she go off on fans and just explain she outright hated them. But before we talk about that, here's some context. When Doja Cat was early in her career, she still had the core fan base that fueled the beginning of her career and decided to give her audience the name Kittens, similar to how Nicki Minaj has the fan base named Barbs. But in July of 2023, she essentially self-destructed her own fan base, and it was completely her fault. It began when a fan page of Doja's tweeted at her asking her to say that she loves her fans. Doja responded 2 minutes later with, "I don't though, cause I don't even know y'all." Then another fan chimed in and explained that Doja should be grateful for her fans because they were the reason for her success. "And we don't know you, but we have supported you through thick and thin. Mind you, you'd be nothing without us. You'd be working at a grocery store making songs on GarageBand, Miss High School Dropout. Instead of understanding where they were coming from and apologizing, Doja decided to double down, saying, "Nobody forced you. I don't know why you're talking to me like you're my mother. You sound like a crazy person." Of course, looking up to someone like this is unhealthy, but you can't expect more from fans on the internet, which is what most artists understand and just acknowledge. Doja did the opposite and turned on the fan base that she named, writing, "My fans don't name themselves. If you call yourself Kitten or Kittens, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house." A fan clapped back saying, "Only using the name you gave your fans." And I'm not gonna lie, what happened right after was pretty funny. Doja Cat explained that she was an alcoholic when she gave her fans that name and said she doesn't even know what it means. By the way, I did mention that this was all between Doja Cat and her biggest fan pages, right? So these were literally her biggest fans who took time out of their day to promote and support her, which even if that is a jobless activity, you still gotta appreciate. So one of her fan pages named The Kittens Web tweeted, "What should I change my name to since you don't like the term kitten?" Doja said, "Just delete the entire account and rethink everything. It's never too late." So if it wasn't obvious before, her relationship with fans is definitely beyond dislike, it's hate. She literally hates them. And you're probably wondering what happened after all of this. Well, after having so many back and forths with her own fan pages, Doja lost an insane amount of fans and followers. Around 500,000 were lost in just a few months. To most artists, this would be devastating, but to Doja, she loved it and addressed it on her Instagram story, saying, "Seeing all these people unfollow me makes me feel like I've defeated a large beast that's been holding me down for so long, and it feels like I can reconnect with the people who really matter and love me for who I am, and not for who I was. I feel free." But she did lose a lot of her serious fans who didn't want to support a douche. But there is one last controversy where Doja Cat beefs with her fans, and it's probably the worst yet. It's Doja Cat's recent relationship with the internet live streamer Jay Cyrus. Remember how I said live streaming would be a common theme for her throughout her entire career? The controversial streamer has had many women speak up with allegations against him. About 20 women spoke about abuse that went on in the workplace, sexual misconduct, and even allegations of him. So it's safe to say people did not like him, and for good reason, of course. But Doja didn't care. On social media, countless fans bombarded her with comments about Jay Cyrus. One fan commented, "Girl, everyone's unstanding you. Even if you paint yourself gold, it won't make things better." Doja Cat responded in all caps and made it clear she did not care at all, saying, "I want you all to read this comment and take it as a message. I don't give a what you think about my personal life. I never have and never will give a what you think about me or my personal life. Goodbye and good riddance. Miserable, haha." She then began blocking and reporting the fans that would question her morals for dating a well-known actor. That all brings us to today, where it looks like it's all over. Of course, her relationship with her fans is more than fractured. It's actually really bad. And all that remains are the ones that are okay with her behavior, so she doesn't really have to worry about people getting mad. However, she did address the situation entirely in a recent interview, and in it, she outright lies. First by saying she never said she hates her fans.
I want to kind of set straight is that you'll never see a direct quote of me saying I hate my fans.
Okay.
Not once. But it's a really big misquoted thing where everybody is saying she hates her fans. Never said that.
She claimed it was a meme.
I do like to play with that as a meme. It's definitely something. And I know that like people who get it, and I'm fine with that. I don't need to like have to explain my sense of humor or explain comedy to anyone. If people don't see the joke, then they just don't see the joke. And it's not my responsibility to have them understand.
Of course, this is a lie. If you've watched this video, she's kind of went through it multiple times. But I feel like everyone has to feel at least a little bad for Doja Cat. Life as one of the biggest names in the entertainment industry can get pretty rough and toxic. And she's spoken about her problems with fame countless times. And this video really sums it up. A fan explained she used to like Doja Cat's music, but she treats her fans horribly. So she stopped liking her.
I used to like your music, but you treat your fans like
Doja then explained it wasn't her responsibility.
You act like I have some responsibility to be like babying people and treating people like stupid, but they're not stupid. That's why I yell at them.
And that the fans are hypocrites.
Somebody coming in here being like, "You're bald. That's my fan." You're so misguided. You act like I'm saying my fans are, it's like you're hearing me say that out of my mouth when I never did. There's a lot of people I don't like who I listen to their music. If I knew them, I probably wouldn't like them.
And explained why she hated them.
I'm not your friend. I make music and you like it. And if you don't, cool, great. I don't give a
I'm not doing it so that you like me. I'm doing it because it's fun.
Pretty fair, to be honest. So that's all really for Doja Cat, who obviously has tons of instances where she's not only beefed with her fans, but just said that she hates them. However, she is unapologetically herself and doesn't care enough to please everybody just to be perceived in a better light by the public eye, which is commendable. And neither does this next artist. The next artist on the list who allegedly hates their fans is none other than Frank Ocean. An amazing case of an artist starving their fans. But once again, how did he get fans as well? Because he has a pretty diehard fan base too. Frank Ocean originally blew up with his group Odd Future alongside acts like Tyler the Creator, and then became one of the largest R&B acts as a solo artist. However, since dropping his album Blonde in 2016 and a couple of singles afterward, Frank has been MIA for 7 years, and it doesn't look like there's anything coming anytime soon. With not only a lack of music, but also a lack of appearances, making fans question, does this guy even like us, or at the very least care about us? And many even think he hates them. And after you've seen what he's done, it's not hard to see why they think so. For years after his hiatus, nothing really happened. He just wasn't around, completely out of the public eye, and went MIA on all socials, meaning fans didn't really know what he was up to, but they did kind of respect it. But in late 2019, at Tyler the Creator's yearly Camp Vlog Nah, there was a surprise performance that was pretty much confirmed to be Frank Ocean. So his fans were really excited because appearances by him are very rare. However, when the show commenced and it was his turn to come on, he was a no-show, and Drake, the largest rapper in the world, took his spot. His fans super pissed off, booed off Drake, which is crazy. It just shows that his fans are so passionate that even when the biggest rapper in the world came to the stage, they didn't care. This is wild, but it would only be the first of many instances where Frank would enrage his fanbase. But this wasn't really Frank's fault. He never outright said he was going to be there, and it was on them for having the expectation that he would show up. And honestly, kind of rude to boo Drake off of the stage. So I feel like everyone can give Frank a pass for this. It's more just his fans being very passionate. But the next thing, not really. The next time Frank upset his fans had to do with one of his merch drops in 2019. Frank released a merch drop with vinyls, exclusive songs, clothing, accessories, and because there was exclusive music promised, everything sold out really quickly. Almost immediately, actually. Fans were really excited for the exclusive music since they hadn't gotten any real music from him in years at this point. On the website, it said that everything was going to be shipped within 8 to 12 weeks, which was already long, but for Frank Ocean, it was okay. Except fans had to wait a lot longer than 3 months. 3 months would pass, and not only was the merch not shipped, there weren't any updates on it either. So fans were really mad. Understandably. And Frank didn't make any statement on it. He just stayed mysterious. Then one day, a fan on Reddit even explained that Frank's merch drop went against the FTC's regulations, and the site actually broke 3 laws regarding distribution and communication with customers, which was very bad business. And this just made fans even more mad. So an entire year after the original release date of the merch, Frank's team released an official statement. Due to the events of this year, Frank will no longer be releasing the song that you purchased on vinyl. We will be refunding your purchase of this item, and any additional items in your order will be shipping next week. This meant that almost no one would get what they wanted, the vinyls, and some fans would get other items like accessories. This was a horrible look for him, and to fans it was a WTF moment. Why would an artist announce a merch drop only to never actually fulfill it? And to them, they were kind of shocked because in the past, there wasn't really any type of behavior like this. They were surprised because this horrible behavior just began racking up randomly. Back in 2016, on Frank's song Future of Free, he showed gratitude towards his fanbase, mentioning how he's been making a lot of money but is so grateful that he should be paying them instead, saying, "They paying me mama, I should be paying them, I should be paying y'all, honest to God." But actions speak a lot louder than words, and Frank's actions showed that he didn't give a f about his fans to where he thought he didn't like them. And overall, it just left a bad taste in fans' mouths. But that taste would turn horrible when Frank announced the release of his luxury line Homer in 2021. Homer was supposed to be a luxury jewelry brand with very expensive items ranging from a few $100s to thousands of dollars, completely out of the price range for his average fan. To them, this was just him using the clout he got from them to launch a brand that none of the people who put money in his pockets and supported him could afford, which once again made fans very upset and think, does this guy even care about us? Mind you, he hadn't dropped music in years. Instead, he was dropping perfumes for hundreds of dollars and other luxury goods. And of course, what would you know? This time, everything shipped perfectly. But all of a sudden, in 2022, it looked like Frank was gonna make the whole situation right, and finally appease his fans. He decided to drop another merch capsule in 2022, and fans fell for it once again. The merch drop had a poster, some t-shirts, and vinyls, which were all really overpriced, but it didn't matter. The drop sold out instantly, and fans were excited they were finally going to be able to get their hands on some merchandise and vinyls. But it didn't turn out how they expected. The wait time for the items turned out to be very, very, very long. Countless fans' orders came damaged, and the majority of Frank's fans got emails from Frank's team saying, "We regret to inform you that your order with Blonded has insufficient inventory to fulfill your order. We've gone ahead and issued a refund for the item. You should receive the refund to your original form of payment within 5 to 7 business days." So they had sold way more merch than they had, and most of Frank's fans didn't get any merch. This just made them even more mad, especially because Frank still didn't address the situation to his fans directly, no reassurance or anything. And to them, it was clear he didn't care about them one bit. These were all just cash grabs, and some of them had failed, which seemed to have become a running theme in Frank's career. But then, in 2022, Frank Ocean announced he was going to be playing a show, and fans gave him one last chance, and to them, this was their last hope. However, this situation somehow became worse than all the previous controversies combined, and that was his horrendous Coachella performance in 2023. Frank was originally set to perform at the 2020 Coachella, but of course, that wasn't going to happen. Then in 2022, it was announced that he'd be holding off his performance until 2023 and was supposed to headline both weekends of the festival. The fans were like, wow, we're about to eat. 2 weekends and we haven't seen this guy in 6 years. So the whole time, fans were really hyped to see him, as it was his first show since 2017, but this excitement wouldn't last. And very quickly, things started going horribly. All due to Frank, by the way, not anything external. First, Frank did something really unnecessary. Coachella had announced that the show would be live streamed for everyone to watch on YouTube for free, but just before the show started, they canceled the live stream. And it was later revealed that the cancellation of the live stream was actually a personal demand, not request, from Frank, which makes you think. But anyways, afterward, Frank arrived to the stage an hour late. Then the show was pretty lackluster. The entire performance was supposed to have a lot of stage direction and props, with a lot of money involved, and even ice skaters, but it was canned by Frank at the last minute. So instead, the show was him slowly dancing and mostly lip syncing to his songs, even interrupting the show for a DJ to play house and EDM remixes on his songs for a good amount too. He then came back, performed a few more songs, but then abruptly ended the show an hour early after being an hour late. So by this point, fans were beyond upset. They had been waiting and standing in the heat for hours, waiting for their favorite artist to perform, just to be let down. And this time, he kind of got what he deserved. The disaster of a concert went super viral and everyone started to chime in, and it got so much backlash and hate that Frank canceled his second concert for Coachella the next weekend and left fans even more confused. Because wouldn't most people want to make things right? Like at this point, a lot of them really thought he hated them and it was just too much. And to me, it was kind of like the final nail in the coffin. But he told fans that he injured his ankle, even though it was clear he was lying, and the medical reason allowed him to pocket a big check. Afterwards, the public found out that Frank made $4 million from his abysmal performance at Coachella, and I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to book him again for even more money because of how passionate his fan base is. So to fans, it was clear that he didn't perform for them because he liked them or he wanted to, entertain his fans. He did it because it was an easy cash grab, just like everything else he had done since the last time he dropped music. Okay, so does Frank Ocean actually hate his fans? I actually don't think so. I just think he is so nonchalant and just feels like they aren't entitled to anything, which he is kind of right. And he believes that all to the point where he'll act however he wants, and he's clearly motivated by other factors himself. And another artist who's also very motivated only by himself is Playboi Carti, the final artist on this list who allegedly hates their fans, none other than the King Vamp himself, Playboi Carti. We all know that Playboi Carti has one of the craziest and most passionate fan bases of all time, especially with his recent opium movement. He's bigger than ever, and it seems like he will grow for years to come. Carti fans, however, don't seem to get the same effort put back into them or get shown any love. Their relationship with Carti is pretty messy and seems to be a love-hate relationship. His fans are constantly discussing his release dates and waiting for any potential music to drop, but for Carti, that's a very rare occasion, so they're quite literally constantly waiting. On top of that, he's a notorious liar when it comes to dropping music, which constantly gets on fans' nerves, and to a lot of fans, he's just a horrible person. But enough with the yapping, here's why fans think he hates them and how they eventually began hating him. The first reason fans think he hates them is because he uses lying to them as a marketing strategy. Let me explain. He does this to keep his audience tied to his mysterious persona, making him extremely unpredictable when it comes to releasing his music, and he has a ridiculous history of doing this to the point where fans couldn't believe a thing he says. Here are a couple examples. Back in 2019, Playboi Carti said he was gonna drop his album in the next 60 days. It didn't drop for 100 days. Then, once again, months later, Carti took to Instagram and made the post 48 hours locked in. So fans thought, yo, he's dropping music, and went ballistic. It had been 2 years since an album dropped, and 48 hours from when the post was made would have been a Friday, which is when new music drops. So fans thought Whole Lotta Red, his highly anticipated album, was about to drop. Once again, it would be 2 years till Carti would drop. This would have been cool maybe if it was a 1 or 2 time thing, but Carti did this exact thing multiple times, claiming he would drop music or strongly alluding to it because he knew fans would get excited. Then nothing would drop. The worst part was fans knew he was mysterious and would stay that way, so they couldn't expect an explanation. So fans undeniably hate him for this, and they think he hates them too. However, unfortunately for fans, this is all part of Carti's marketing strategy, as I said earlier, and it works. So it's not gonna stop anytime soon. But on the bright side, they at least get some music, right? Nope. Other than Carti's own releases, he doesn't let any of his music with other artists see the light of day, and he's done this countless times. He does this by not clearing features for other artists' albums, meaning the other artist and his fans want a feature of his to drop on an album, but Carti will step in and say, nah. The first notable time he did this was when he took a feature off of Young Lean's album after he flew Lean out to work with him, which is kind of weird, but Young Lean is underground, so it's understandable, right? What isn't understandable is how he took himself off of multiple mainstream artists' albums. In just 2023 alone, he's taking himself off multiple A-list artist albums. For example, in 2023, he declined to be on Lil Uzi's Pink Tape. Later that year, he took his feature off of Trippie Redd's Mansion Music. And once again, in the same year, Kid Cudi tweeted that Carti didn't clear his feature on his album either. A couple months later, Offset previewed his song with Playboi Carti for his album Set It Off, and fans were hyped because they thought if the artist is previewing a song for his next album, it's gonna be on the album, right? And it looked like Carti was on board too. But when the album dropped, the song wasn't there. And Offset later explained that Carti refused to clear the song and didn't know why. You could tell he was disappointed too.
Why didn't Playboi Carti clear the song for the album? That's a rumor online. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. Shout out to my boy, man. See, because I don't get into it by music. Sometimes people be going through their own, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Shout out to bro, though, man. He should have cleared that smash, though. I ain't gonna cap. But we like that. I don't get mad at folks for like that, because sometimes people be going through their own, or they might not. Won't, I don't know.
It's not completely clear why he did it, but fans were very disappointed to say the least, calling Carti some not so nice names. But you see, Carti doesn't just lie about when his music is gonna drop or what is gonna drop, he also lies about his tour dates as well. In 2022, after years, Carti had announced that he would be touring the world in a tour called the Antagonist Tour with his label. So of course, fans were hyped because they would be able to see their favorite artist from wherever they lived in the world. But after multiple billboards, announcements, and even ticket sales commencing, Carti's Antagonist Tour, originally slated to begin in September of 2023, was rescheduled to the following year. Worst of all, this happened right before it was set to kick off. And if you're confused, he canceled it. He canceled the tour. This had fans shocked and bewildered, as some people had taken time off of their jobs to attend these shows and booked Airbnbs and hotels, as it had been advertised for a while. It was actually a lot more than a storm of Reddit posts and tweets. Fans were genuinely outraged, thinking, why would he do this to them? They'd struggle to get refunds. Ironically, the canceling of Carti's tour was because of low ticket sales, which happened only because he lied and treated his fans so badly and didn't drop enough music to satisfy fans. So if he had treated his fans a bit better, he wouldn't have been in this mess to begin with. And it turns out Carti has quite the history of peculiar behavior towards fans at shows. The next reason people think Carti hates his fans is also related to this tour. The same tour had ridiculously high prices for general admission tickets. Carti thought he would be able to get away with this because of his cult fan base, but even they were confused why he was making them pay so much, saying things like, I saw Travis and Uzi for about 100 each. Why is Carti charging 210 for general admission? Carti also has a history of just being disrespectful to the audience of his show. He's seen numerous times shading the crowd, venue, or performance in general, which definitely leaves a bad taste in fans' mouths. For example, once he told everybody to leave the concert abruptly.
Everybody is get the fuck out of here and go the fuck home. This shit is over with. I love you. This shit. One more.
The final reason fans believe Cardi hates them is due to him lying and ripping them off for merch, and this one was pretty messed up. In 2021, Cardi announced what fans thought was new music and a tour, Narcissist. He had made a series of cryptic posts with the Narcissist caption 9/3/21, and announced the Narcissist tour, but when the day he posted about so much, September 13th, 2021 rolled around, there was no project, just clothes on a website. But hey, at least he was giving the fans something, right? No. The Narcissist merch drop was a horrible drop for fans, and once you see the items, you'll understand why. There was a $5,000 motorcycle helmet, and many fans just thought the designs were weak. One fan even tweeted, "college tuition or Cardi merch." To fans, it was a lazy cash grab, and to them, it showed that Cardi did not care at all about them. But of course, many fans still bought the merch. However, after the immense backlash, Cardi tweeted, "The website is hacked, the ref folder was posted live, never approved by any clothing, etc." Meaning, Cardi didn't even mean to drop clothes. The whole thing was just a sham. And after his announcement, fans were even more upset because they had just spent money on something that doesn't even exist. Imagine that. And it was a lot of money. Like, imagine the people that bought one of those helmets. But at the end of the day, Cardi does get away with a lot of stuff purely because his fans worship the ground he walks on. So overall, Cardi may not hate his fans, but he definitely acts like he does. To me, it's more like his fans love him like crazy, and because of that, he knows he can get away with things that normally would be seen as hate. But recently, he hasn't been able to as much and has been getting called out for it. And fortunately for Cardi fans, he's dropping music right now after 3 years. Alright, so overall, having such a passionate fan base can be a beautiful thing, but only if it's reciprocated by the artist, because if not, it can just become really ugly or weird. Like you see it with these other artists, it's not a requirement or anything for an artist to appease their fans and grant all of their wishes, but at the very least, it's just good practice to be kind, respectful, and show your fans that you value them, because they are the reason you're successful, right? But that's my 2 cents. Personally, I don't really care about how artists behave because I'm not invested, I just like to enjoy their music. Anyways, my name is Rishad Bashir, thanks for watching and have a nice day.